chaos has erupted in the heart of Tehran. Deadly explosions have rocked close to a pro-government rally during the annual International Quds Day, which was attended by the top officials of the country. Reports suggest that a woman has been killed and several others have been injured. This comes as Israel and America have unleashed fresh strikes on the Iranian capital. These are the images when multiple explosions rocked the Ferdowsi Square, packed with millions of people. They'd gathered in solidarity with Palestinians amid the ongoing conflict involving Iran, US and Israel. The pro-regime crowds shouted, "God is the greatest," as smoke billowed over the capital. However, the cause of this blast is not known immediately. The rally saw many big faces hitting the streets in an open show of defiance. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian greeted supporters and took selfies taken on the rain-spattered streets of Tehran. Apart from Pezeshkian, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and the National Security Chief Ali Larijani also took part in the march today. Other key officials attending this rally included the Judiciary Chief Ghulam Hossein Mohseni Ejei and the National Police Chief Ahmad Reza Radan.
People are not afraid of these attacks. As you can see, people have come out in this rain under these hardships. We will not back down in any way. May you be successful.
As the war enters its 14th day today, demonstrators in large numbers burnt US and Israeli flags, held photographs of Iran's late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and waved Iranian flags. Despite relentless attacks, millions have hit the streets, not just in Tehran, but across different parts of Iran. This as the country marks Quds Day on the last Friday of the Muslim holy fasting month of Ramzan. Since its 1979 Islamic Revolution, this day was coined by the first Supreme Leader of Iran, the late Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, as a day in support of Palestine.
You should know with 100% certainty that Israel is destroyed, and we are not at all afraid of the threats it makes and the bombardments it carries out. And we will stand by this revolution until our last drop of blood.
We have all come, despite all the threats that exist, to deliver a firm punch to the mouth of the United States, Israel, and global arrogance, and to say that we will always stand behind Islam and our dear leader.
Remember, this is the second time this week that people in such large numbers have been rallying on the streets for the government amid the ongoing war against America and Israel. Earlier in the week, thousands thronged Tehran during the funeral of senior Iranian officials. This comes at a time when US and Israel have been pushing for a regime change in Iran. And joining me live from Washington, D.C. is Lester Munson. He's a senior fellow at the National Security Institute and co-head of the international practice at BGR Group, which is a leading government relations firm in D.C. Lester, thanks very much for joining us on WION. I want to start by asking you what has been happening in Iran as well as in America. Pete Hegseth, a short while back, said that Iranian leaders are hiding like rats. Those are his words. While the visuals that are emerging out of Tehran today and several other Iranian cities show otherwise, the top political and religious leadership of the country are out on the streets along with huge swarms of crowds.
Well, it does kind of make you wonder who is generating these crowds. We know that the Iranian government is wildly unpopular with its people. There were protests across the country in the months leading up to the U.S. and Israeli attack on Iran. Those protests were against the Iranian government. All evidence indicates that the regime of the Ayatollahs is wildly unpopular. And yes, there have been some folks in quasi-leadership positions who have appeared in public, but the new supreme leader, Moshtaba Khamenei, has not appeared in public. It's unclear whether he is actually alive. There's no question that the regime is under a huge amount of pressure from these military strikes that have gone directly at their command and control, their weapons systems, the Navy, the missiles, the production facilities for all of these things. Iran is trying to show that it can resist this, but I have to say, at the end of the day, it's not very effective. Their attacks, counterattacks against Arab states, Israel and the United States, have been going down in number every single day. And I don't think this is going to last much longer than a couple of weeks before Iran has virtually no ability to do anything at all.
Lester, you know, when you say, and in fact, when you question the fact that these crowds are being sort of orchestrated by the Iranian leadership, the question then arises on American aims and objectives of striking Iran. They say that it is the political leadership, the Iranian regime they wanted to strike. If they have struck them and if they have been able to, you know, achieve their objectives, how is the Iranian political leadership at the moment still able to generate such large crowds? Isn't that still a win for Iran?
Yeah, this is a good question. I don't know that I would call it a win for Iran. There's no question that the regime has effective methods of controlling the population. They suppress protests on a regular basis. They killed upwards of 30,000 of their own people as a way to quell these protests in the last few months. The Iranian regime is infiltrated throughout society. There is no doubt about that. And I think at the end of the day, the reason you're hearing, and I'm hearing, kind of different explanations from President Trump about what his ultimate end goal is because it's very likely that new leadership in Iran will still be sitting on top of this same governmental mechanism. And it's not that governmental mechanism that is necessarily the issue. This is why many times the Trump administration does not talk about regime change. What they are really looking for is different decisions from the Iranian government, not to try to eliminate Israel, not to support terrorist groups in any number of Arab countries in the neighborhood, not to kill Americans opportunistically around the world. If Iran is willing to forego those awful decisions that they've made for the last 47 years, then they will probably have very good relations. And by the way, most importantly, the nuclear weapons program, ending that terrible program, then they will probably have pretty good relationship with the Trump administration. The analog is what's happening in Venezuela, where President Trump hasn't changed the regime. He's changed the leadership, but it's effectively the same government that Nicolas Maduro was running is now being run by Delcy Rodriguez. So it doesn't require a change in regime. It requires a change in behavior of the regime.
But you know, we all would agree that Iran is not a Venezuela. But, you know, I also want to shift our focus to Europe and how they have been responding to these strikes against Iran. They have been, you know, sort of saying that, yes, we are with you, Mr. President, Mr. Trump. But they haven't really directly come into this conflict, and they're not fighting against Iran directly. What do you make of this? Do you see NATO joining this conflict in the next few days and weeks?
Well, the Trump administration, to my knowledge, has not asked that NATO join the strikes. I think the president is happy to act with just Israel kinetically here against Iran. If European allies want to join, either with air power or naval power or something like that, that's very nice. If it fits into the military strategy, that's very good. I do think some of these governments have made mistakes initially by coming out against the action. Iran, at the end of the day, is a threat to its own people, to its neighbors, to Europe, to the United States, and to other countries. And suppressing its ability to act internationally is really in everyone's interests at the end of the day. That's why you're seeing even other Muslim countries in the Middle East support the U.S. action against Iran now.
You know, while there are, of course, agreements to the fact that the Iranian regime has been questionable in the past with the kind of, revelations and testimonies that have come to the fore from its own citizens. But I also want to understand from you what you think of the Strait of Hormuz's status. America is saying we'll take care of that. Iran is saying, and the new leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, has said that this should certainly be closed to pressure the adversary. So far, the entire global energy market has been rattled. America hasn't been able to do much significantly. They haven't been able to do much as far as helping the entire world is concerned. And additionally, Russia is now emerging as the big winner, at least in the energy markets, because of this.
Look, first of all, I'm not sure Mojtaba Khamenei actually issued that statement. We have not seen him. Yes, a statement was put out with his name attached to it, but it may not have come from him. It is unclear to me exactly what his status is. And there's no question, though, that the Strait of Hormuz is a real issue. The U.S. needs to provide security for shipping through that very critical area. Energy prices do depend on it. The U.S. will address that. I'm fairly confident. The position of the U.S. military with respect to what it needs to do in Iran to secure that is very strong. Yes, Russia may benefit marginally for a few days because the price of oil goes up and there are these new waivers and that kind of thing, but that is very temporary. And at the end of the day, a change in Iran, a change in the behavior of the Iranian government, which could just be days or a couple of weeks away, is going to be the thing that actually benefits really everyone in the world. And having a better supply of energy, more reliable from a government that behaves properly, is a good thing. At the end of the day, what Russia is losing this because Iran is their friend, it is their ally, and changing the behavior of that country in the long run is extremely bad for Vladimir Putin and Moscow.
All right. I see a world map behind you, Lester, and the map and its people are all looking at what's going to happen in the next few days and weeks. Let's hope the situation is stabilized and we can see the Strait of Hormuz open up and global energy markets and prices being stabilized. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Lester, for joining us on WION and sharing your perspective.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor.